Philly F.A.M.E. Philly F.A.M.E.
Alright, what's up, Lil man? How you doing, man? First and foremost, man, what's up with you? How you doing?
Going good, man.
That's what's up, that's what's up. Like, we was just briefly talking off camera, you know, I randomly came across your story on, like, Instagram, and I did some research on it, like, it's pretty interesting, and you had did a story with the Daily News, and I was telling you, like, doing it, you know, that form of media, everybody may not catch on to the story like that, so this form of it would be, you know, eye-opening to some people to hear you and actually see you speak about the situation. So before we actually get into that, I just want to do a little bit of background on you, just give people a little bit of insight on who you were prior to this situation. So we in the North Philly section right now, so is this where you originally from?
Yeah, I actually grew up across the boulevard, so we're in the HP right now.
Right.
So I grew up in Logan and moved from there, spent some time in Florida. And I just actually moved back when I was 25, so about 10 years ago, I moved back to Philly, and I've been here for the last 10 years.
Oh, okay, so you was in Philly originally, in like the Logan section, then you moved to Florida, and then you came back. Alright, so give people like a brief rundown on like your upbringing, your environment, your family life, just give them a little bit of your backstory.
Alright, so I'm the third oldest of 4 kids. I got 2 sisters and a brother. Born and raised here in Philly. When I was 13, moved to Pensacola, Florida with my mom. Every year I was back in Philly, so it wasn't like I wasn't gone, you know, 13 years. And then I moved back here when I was 25. I mean, my upbringing was cool. I always say like we were like the small Brady Bunch, you know what I mean? When my folks separated is when I started learning more about the streets and being in the streets. But when I moved back here, I really fell into the streets and doing things and trying to survive. So I lived that life, that street life. About a year and a half ago, I met a woman on the subway, suburban station, and she was signing people up for school. I got into welding school, graduated last June. So I became a certified welder. I started working at the school, changed my whole life. You know what I mean, just living a whole different other life, peaceful life, you know, away from the streets and just doing all that crazy stuff. And then I just started working, man. 5 months later, I was shot.
Okay. So we gonna get to that part, but I just want to touch on something that you said. So you said you was like pretty much on the negative note as far as your life prior to you going to welding school.
Yeah.
So you ended up getting certified as a welder. You actually began working as a welder. Know what I mean? So I want you to speak a little bit on that, just for the people that's in the streets or been in the streets, that transition from, you know, the negative life to going over and trying to live a more positive life. Like, was it when you did transition over, was you like tempted to go back? Like, explain your mentality, explain the process. Like, how was that for you going from what you was doing to welding?
So, you know, I mean, to be transparent, keep it real, I was actually hustling. So I started hustling maybe about 3-4 years ago. I left my job and started working downtown, doing what I was doing, making money. But that lifestyle came with a lot, you know what I mean? It came with a lot of stress and always looking over your back, and it just wasn't the life I wanted to live. So at that time I was like super tired, you know what I mean? I was just drained. I was right there about to be homeless, and I just met this woman who was like, you know, I actually tried to sell her bud, and that's how our conversation sparked. And she was like, I'm gonna sell you this, how about this, you know, Philadelphia Technician Training Institute, 6 months training in school. I didn't think I was gonna do it because I was so used to just making that fast money. It took me a little longer than 6 months, but once I graduated, that feeling of like, you know, accomplishing something, you know, it changed my whole mentality. You know what I mean? When I graduated cap and gown, it was like, man, I did it. You know, I actually didn't go into welding. The school actually hired me to recruit. So I started going into, you know, our communities, trying to get the same boys that were living my lifestyle, you know, out there hustling and getting in trouble and getting locked up, and trying to get them to build a career, and letting them know there was something different beyond selling drugs or just being on the street or on the block all day. So I just started working, and that's what my job was doing, was to recruit young Black and Latino men into getting a career and making good money.
Okay. And like you touched on, like you was doing that, and some months passed later, and a situation transpired actually outside your house. I mean, they did the story in the, like I said, the Daily News, and they said it's basically like a botched robbery. Like 2 people came, tried to rob you, and ended up shooting you in your back. So prior to you speaking on that particular situation, I want you to describe the day for you up to that point. Like, what was you doing that day? Like, how did it happen? Was you just in the house chilling? Like, what was going on? And then how did that transpire?
So we'll start with Sunday, November 11th. Had a friend who was going to a tailgating party. It was the Eagle and Dallas game. So I got invited. We was in here making food so we can shoot over to the tailgating party. And once I got over there, the energy was lit. You know what I mean? I said, man, I'm about to get me a ticket to go see the game. It was my first game. I went in there, chill with his friends. We went in, man. I had a good time, man. Never been to a football game. Was right behind the field goal. And I mean, I was feeling good. I got videos of, just sending videos out to my people, just showing that I was having a good time. And then jumped on the train and came home. And it happened on the 12th. I got here around 1 o'clock in the morning.
So it happened that night, like late at that night. So
it happened
like early
late
in the morning.
Yeah. So it happened like 1 o'clock in the morning on the 12th.
Okay, so it was right outside your house. The reason why that's important is because I feel like, a lot of people are vulnerable in that situation. It can happen to like anybody. Like you at your house and somebody can come try to rob you.
In your own community. You know what I mean? And that's the crazy part. And that's the part that I couldn't understand. Like, I live in the same spot you live in, so I can't have that much more than you. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think when you rob somebody in your community? Like, what do you think you're getting from them? That's the part that kind of like messed my mind up. You was robbing me for nothing.
So when they try and rob, these people approach you, they try to rob you. Like, what is your mentality at that point? Like, did you think they was gonna shoot you? Like, was you thinking that like they might shoot? Like, what was going through your mind when they was actually trying to rob you?
It's crazy because I always think about that. Being somebody from the streets and being out there and just having that whole ain't nobody gonna take nothing from me mentality. But when I came to my doorstep, my key was in the door. Like, it was unlocked. All I had to do was walk in, but I had a friend in the street waiting for me to unlock the door. When I seen them, I already knew what it was. They were standing in the shade and they were like, you already know what this is. I never seen their guns until I turned around to tell my homie to run, and I was going to run. And I think that, I didn't believe they were going to shoot me. I didn't. When I turned around is when I seen their guns. So I thought I had that time. I think that when I was going to run, they were going to be like, all right, he ran. Like, I didn't think they were going to chase me or anything like that. But as soon as I turned around, they shot me.
Right. So when you got shot initially and you felt it, did you think at that point, like, I probably gonna die? It's a chance I could die after getting shot? Like, what was your mentality?
Bro.
Yeah, what was you thinking? Like, give them that still. Like, what was going on in your mind?
When I got shot, like, my mind just raced. And, like, I got myself together really quick. And I was like, oh, man, I got shot. It was no pain. It wasn't like what I expect. What you see in the movies, you hear. I expected I was gonna be screaming. I was gonna be hollering. I was in pain. I had more pressure on my stomach. All I felt was pressure. I felt it hit my back. I think 10 seconds later, once I called 911, I really thought if I didn't make it to the street, then I was done. The bullet never came out of me. I never felt it like go through me, so I knew it was still in me. And not knowing anything, I was like, I think I felt like I was good, But when my knees hit the ground, I was going to pass out. I thought I was done. I thought it was. I started thinking about people, and thought about just to say my last prayer, like, yo, God, I don't want to die. Like, I don't. Like, yo, save me. I don't want to die. And then I passed out.
Okay.
But that it was crazy. It was crazy because it happened no lie, from the time I put the key in the door to the time I got shot, couldn't have been more than 30 seconds. That's how fast it was.
Alright, so you end up passing out, and obviously you wake up in the hospital. I mean, you gotta go through the surgery and the recovery process and all of that. So explain that, 'cause I think I seen on your Instagram you said one of the surgeries was like 12 hours or something like that. So explain that, prior going through that situation.
So when I kind of woke up, I kind of remember the cops pulling me into the car. So I was the one that called the cops, told them I got shot, told them my location, my name, what have you, you know. So I kind of opened my eyes and felt them picking me up, and I passed back out. I woke back up when I was on the gurney in the hospital, and I felt somebody like hitting on my chest, like, Mr. Berrios, wake up, you know. And then the next time I woke up, I didn't know I was shot. I didn't. I sat up. I had a back brace, abdominal brace around me, and I just had all this stuff coming out my nose, my mouth, and I didn't know what was going on. They had to let me know I was shot. So when I got up, I'm like looking like, what's going on? I'm in a hospital. Am I in a psych ward, or I'm in a hospital? You know. So I didn't know, and it was my sisters that told me that I was shot. I passed back out. I woke back up, and for 9 days straight, they had to tell me that I got shot. It was I was told that I was in surgery for about 12 hours or more. When I took the brace off, I seen the damages I had in my front area, my stomach, and it was hard to grasp. It was like every day think about, yo, somebody tried to kill you. You know what I mean? Like, you got shot like in front of your crib. Like, that's crazy. Like, I had $6 to my name. So these two guys were willing to take my whole life for $6. You know, your mind starts, you know what I mean, racing. And like my mind did, you know. And like I said, every time I woke up, they had to tell me, like, you've been shot. And my mom, you know, they're like, yo, you're doing a good job. You know, you just got shot. Every day I dreamed that I got shot. So every day that I closed my eyes in the hospital, anytime I went to sleep, I woke up because in my dream I got shot. Only that reality was I got shot, you know.
Okay. So now you gotta go through the physical recovery process. I mean, after your surgery and stuff like that, and also, you know, mental. I mean, emotional stuff. So speak on that as well, like having to get back to how you was prior to that situation. I know you probably still going through it now, because it wasn't that long ago. It was back in November, so what, like a whole year passed?
6 months.
I mean, 6 months ago. So explain the process over the period of time.
So my second day in the hospital, I was unable to talk anyway because when they put the tube down, they damaged my vocal cord. So my right side, my vocal cord collapsed. So I really wasn't able to talk. But my second day, I made it clear, I'm getting up and I'm walking. So, you know, with all the tubes and everything, I got up and I walked for about a minute, and my heart rate jumped up to 160, 170, and it was going up. So I had to lay down. The problem I had was that my heart rate wouldn't go down. So as I laid in the bed, sometimes my heart rate was at 140 or 160. I was like running a marathon while laying down. So that was one of the problems I was having, and it was causing a lot. It was causing a lot of problems. Also, I was getting infection on top of infection. So when a bullet went through, it hit my intestines. So everything in my intestines was in my abdominal area. So I wound up catching different infections, blood infections, infections in my stomach, infections in my lung, because it pierced my lung as well, the hole. So the recovery part was, I spent about my first go around about 50 days in the hospital. So it was 50 days not eating, ice chips, and just feeling miserable, you know. Also, I formed what they call a fistula. So that was a hole in my stomach. It was my intestine that was hanging out. It started as a small hole, and it went up to like 4 inches in 5 months, hanging out of me. That in itself was a lot. Mentally I was broken. I still couldn't understand why anybody would want to kill me. You know, the type of person I am. I'm a very giving person. You know, I like to help people. So for these two guys to shoot me, all you really had to do was talk to me, tell me what you needed, and guarantee I would have helped them. So the mental part was crazy, you know, because like I said, every night I got shot. Every night I seen these, you know, these faces. Every night I was fighting for my life, and every time I woke up, it was only to me being shot and having so many tubes. I had like 4 things of blood over me. I had a breathing machine. It was like I had 3 tubes on one side, a tube in my lung, another draining tube, a feeding tube, and just mentally looking at myself. I was losing weight fast. I was getting sick. It was chills. It was just, I couldn't do anything. So I think on the mental part, it broke me. It really, really did break me. My thing is, I used to love going to work. I love helping people, like I said. So at my job, I was doing the work that I was passionate about. And when they shot me, they took that from me. You know, they took that from me. They took going out. It took like me enjoying just going out to eat or chilling with my homies. Like I couldn't do none of that. And it's been 6 months. And even now, I just had my last surgery April 15th. And I mean, the surgery wore me out. It was bad. It drained me. They had to cut me right back open and repair my bowels and repair my abdominal area. They did a lot of damage with that one shot. So I'm out of work for 1.5 years. So I really depend on like my GoFundMe, people's support, and you know, just different outlets of trying to like survive, you know.
Got you. So with all that being said, all that stuff you went through, all that stuff you currently going through that you just explained, you still found it in you to actually forgive the people that did this to you.
Yeah.
And you actually penned a letter of forgiveness, expressing yourself to them, and you actually went out in the community with a few people and was passing it out in the community with hopes that one day this might actually come across them, they might actually see this, to let them know that you ain't got no hard feelings towards them despite all that you went through. Now the average person would say, man, if somebody shot me and did all this to me, man, I ain't forgiving them.
Yeah.
So what was it in you to make you say, you know what, I actually forgive them?
I mean, it was a number of different things. I know what could have happened. You know, one main thing is when I laid on that concrete, there was nobody there. Nobody on my block came out to see what happened. Nobody was there. You know, I really, really thought that I was done. Like, I'm 35 and I'm about to be erased from this whole earth. And I did. I said a prayer and I asked God to save me and not to let me die. So when I woke up, I knew He answered that, and I knew how to change my life. Not only that, I had homies come that was ready. You know, people were ready. Like, we about to do this, and to think about what I went through, I didn't want nobody else to go through that. The pain that I was in was crazy. You know, I didn't want any of my friends to go through that, and also just to change my life. You know, I wanted to leave that whole street aspect or even arguing out there, fighting or anything like that. I wanted to leave that alone. Like, I wanted to live. I wanted to heal. I wanted to live a better life. And in the beginning, I was holding a lot of resentment. I was angry like anybody else would be, you know. And it just wasn't me. My family was angry. You know, my friends were angry. And if I could have, you know, in my mind, if I knew that I would have did this, a lot of people would have changed, you know, in my circle, the way they were thinking, you know, and letting that anger go. So it took time. It wasn't that I wrote a letter of forgiveness, you know. I also wanted my shooters to know I was alive. And even though the streets teach us, you know, you hit me, I hit you back. You do this to me, I got you back. You know, I wanted to break that cycle. You know, can I do it for the world? I can't. But it starts with me. You know, it starts with that man in the mirror, you understand? And I wanted to break that cycle of just like going back and going to where they was at, like where they were all standing when they started following me. Like I wanted to just break that whole cycle. And you know, in my letter I say it, like, I don't hate you, I don't wish bad on you, I'm not looking for retaliation or even to come at you. Even though this is the way the streets have taught us to handle our problems, it never worked for anybody. You know, and I let them know, like, I am sad. I'm sad you picked me. I'm sad you changed my whole life. I'm sad that you even made my mom cry. You know, like, I just wanted them to feel not my anger, but my pain. You know, I wanted them to see what you did to me for nothing, because you got nothing from me. You shot me and you ran. So you were ready to take a whole life for absolutely nothing. And I was sad that they even had that much hate in them. You know, and that letter actually, that letter actually helped me. It wasn't just them, that helped me. That helped me to release all that pain and anger. That helped me to focus on my healing. You know, I had an intestine hanging out my stomach. I couldn't eat nothing. I couldn't drink. Anytime I ate or drank, it came right out. You know, I was unable to walk. Like, it was hard for me to walk. You know, I was always in pain. I stood in my house for months just trembling in pain. And not having that pain medicine is going to take all the way. No, I had to deal with that on my own. So this letter allowed me to focus on my healing. You know, and my spiritual side as well. So.
Got you. Alright, so when we initially spoke about doing this interview, you had explained to me that you agreed to do it because your mission and what you're trying to do is basically use your situation and your story to help save lives, and so, you know, just to speak on your story and have other people possibly get something out of it to change their life. So go ahead, speak a little bit on that, like your mission moving forward to help change people's lives and save people's lives.
So yeah, I've been telling myself I want to inspire 1 million people but save 2 million lives. If I can inspire 1 million people, then they're gonna actually step out and they're gonna help somebody else. You know, and I say that because, you know, like I said earlier, our city's in trauma. The streets of Philly is getting tough. You know what I mean? And people are getting shot every day. They say we got a little over 400 people in the first week of May that's been shot. You know, and I hope to share my story. You know, I had people say, man, you inspired me. Like, there's things that's going on in my life people have done to me. It's not even as bad as you. You forgave them. That means I could do it. When I hear stuff like that, I know that my story is moving somebody. You know, and, you know, also to them young people who read my story and they wanna spend that last 200, 250 on a gun, and they think they just cool. They think they out there, yo, I got me a gat. You know what I mean? I'm good. And want to go out there and start shooting. Bro, you'll change somebody's whole entire life. You would change somebody's whole entire life. If you ain't putting them into the ground, you stopping their whole life. And you're not only stopping theirs, you're stopping your life as well. Because you're always going to be looking. You're always going to wonder if that person coming back. You're always going to wonder if you're going to get time. And if you do get time, you sitting down. You don't hurt your mom, your dad, you don't hurt your family because you made a senseless act. Because you just think that it was just a cool thing to do. You know, you was trying to get your clout. Yeah, I didn't shot somebody or I didn't chase somebody with a gun. That's not thorough. Like, if you in our communities are broken, we're hurting financially, mentally, emotionally, we are hurting. So robbing somebody in your community, you ain't getting much. But you will get time or you will end up dead.
Right. And on that note, man, Banzo, you said, you know, previously that right now you really depending on like your GoFundMe and other outlets for people to support you. So for the people that's tuned in, that want to help, that want to support you, go ahead, plug your GoFundMe, your Instagram, any other method of communication, and let them know how they can help you out.
So my Instagram is king_Lou1. My GoFundMe's on there. My GoFundMe's Lou's Healing Fund. Anything helps. People understand the situation's hard when you're not working and you know, not having any type of income and still trying to survive. It's hard. So you can always hit me up on king_Lou1. That's my Instagram. If you want to do work with me, if you want to step out in this community to help your community, or even have me come speak and maybe motivate some young people, yo, I'm up to it. You know, this is not going to change. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a child. You know, we need to get together and we need to start, you know, helping our youth out here. So yeah, my Instagram, my GoFundMe, King Lou is my Facebook. hit me up. I mean, people have been hitting me up. If you have hit me up, I thank you so much. The words of like inspiration that y'all have given me is healing in itself. Makes me feel good and lets me know my city is not falling apart like we really think it is. There's good people out here.
Right. On that note, man, we signing out for now. Until next time, man. We here with Lou Berrios, aka King Lou.
Yeah, for the F.A.M.E TV. Yeah.